Hey everybody, and welcome to TK Power Sports and RVs. And this morning here at the Tampa RV show, we're going to show you some new Prevost motor coaches. So let me start right off. Once these babies are upfitted, we're talking $2.5 million and up. And that right there is reason enough to stay tuned and see what I'm going to show you. So most people in the RV business know about Prevost. What you might not know is that they're a Quebec-based bus manufacturer, because there's as many of these or more probably rolling down the road as buses, as opposed to just RVs. Now behind me, what we're looking at is the brand new chassis and shell. So they've changed significantly from the last generation, but honestly, to best describe it, I'm going to hand it over to the president of Prevost right here.
So basically, based on our new chassis, and you can imagine also this wasn't an easy task during COVID, because we had actually planned to introduce that model a bit earlier, but because of everything that happened over the last 2 years, we had to extend our introduction date. But one of the big features you will see on the new coach is actually the improved aerodynamics. We actually, there's two axes you can work on by improving the aerodynamics, either the horizontal or the vertical axis. And actually, we decided to work on both. So the first thing on the horizontal side, we went with actually a 5-degree tapered angle. So you'll notice it from the front. Now the front cap is actually a little bit narrower, again to improve airflow. On the vertical axis, we actually tilted back the windshield by about 7 inches. So that's pretty substantial to make sure also that the air was flowing nicely on the up top of the vehicle. We also redone the underbody of the coach also, because there's a lot of air going there, making sure it was evacuated properly. Another small thing we've done is the redesign of the mirrors also, because mirrors play also a good part when it comes to aerodynamics. So there was two objectives there: improve the airflow, but also the look of the mirrors. So you see the new design basically looks great. It's actually improved the airflow, improve even soiling, so there's less backdraft, and basically so the mirrors stay cleaner even in harsh weather conditions, which is a great side benefit. So that's for the aerodynamics, and I got to tell you, we were happily surprised to realize that actually we were able to achieve up to 12% better fuel efficiency because of all of these changes. One of the big things, we had to retouch the structure because there's new rollover regulations coming in, so we had to reinforce our overall body structure. So basically that was kind of the big one of the big things. And as we were doing that, we said let's optimize also the floor to ceiling height also, so we got a bit of more room there also to play with. So that's on the structure. Big thing also we've worked on is serviceability, and we wanted to make sure that the product was becoming easier to service. So some things you'll notice, we have now a wider, a much larger service door, that gives you access to all the electrical component, junction box. Simple things like now the driver window, instead of being inside of the coach, now it's part of the door. So when you have to service it, you don't have to dismantle the whole side of the dashboard. So which is great again, improved time. We had so much space that we even doubled the size of the windshield washer tank, to make it more easier. You don't have to refuel it as often. Another big feature is the front trunk. Small thing, but I got to tell you, now you can basically pop that front trunk open, and you have easy access to HVAC system, the defroster, the change the filter will never be so easy, to the wiper motors and everything. So now, you don't have to dismantle, especially for motorhomes, you're looking at a masterpiece, when it comes to the dashboard, right? So you want to make sure that, when mechanics have to go in, do maintenance by the inside, dismantle parts, first it takes time, and second, there's always a possibility of damaging the parts. So now you can do everything from the outside. So little things like that really improve the serviceability and make it easier. Another thing, 3-piece bumper. Small thing, but when you hit a bumper, typically it's on the corner. Now you don't have to change the whole skin. You just have to change one of the corners. So little things like this to improve, again, the cost of maintenance, and making sure we're trying to reduce it as much as we can. So we've talked about the exterior. Now one of the big things we really worked hard on is actually redesigning the interior of the coach. So the first thing you'll notice now, we have actually a new kind of automotive-inspired dashboard, and the idea was to make it more modern looking, but also improve the ergonomics for the driver to have easy access to all components and everything. So that's the first thing you'll notice. We have also a new driving wheel, so And it's a great one because you've got all the integrated functions as part of the steering wheel now. So it makes it easier. So you don't have access now. You don't need any gateways to have access to the multiplex system. Everything is easily accessible. We have a new also cluster, which is kind of a mix between analog and digital, and we try to put a lot of information to help the drivers in the digital portion of the display when it comes to tire pressure monitoring systems, when it comes to sensors to know if there's a luggage bay door that would be open, type of thing. So a lot of things like this where you can have easy access to information right there. Another thing we've done also was to reduce the size of our A-pillar, that post here you see. And the point is, it was to really improve the visibility. Because, especially when you're driving those big vehicles in the urban environment, we always have those dead angles, and especially if there's a child or somebody, a shorter stature that goes in front of the coach, you're losing that perspective. So now by doing that, we really improve the visibility. And when you combine that with the curvature now of the windshield, the side windows and the windshield, now you have a much greater visibility in that front dead angle. So again, it improved the safety, operations of the coach. Another thing, this is an option also we've got now available, which is electronic mirrors. And it's a nice feature because basically you can operate the coach at night like it was daylight, so you really have great visibility. You have lines that shows you on the screen where a vehicle behind you is in terms of, you have two lines, one which is the rear end of the coach, and also the rear axle, so you know exactly when you want to overtake or pass, you know exactly where vehicles are located when it comes to your motorhome. So little things like this, make it for a greater and safer way, to operate the unit, because those are big vehicles, right? You're talking about 45-footer, 55,000 pounds, vehicles. So we want to put as much safety elements to improve, to help drivers, operate the unit safely. So one of the great benefit of owning a Prevost, there's always the different classes, Class A's, Class B's, but for us, it's the kind of the ultimate class is the structural integrity of the coach, You have basically a fully reinforced stainless steel chassis. So as you can imagine, this is great because it brings a lot of protection, but also it keeps the coach steady. So when it comes to rattle noise and everything, I mean, this one, because it's so rigid as a structure, you don't get that. So you can look at a Prevost, even after 10 years, all the cabinets will be actually still flush, so nothing moves. So one of the things also, flush floor. This is, we introduced a couple of years back our own, slides, and we wanted to make sure, because the old ways was to always add a step like this, so now we wanted to make sure that we had a flush floor to really extend the interior look of the coach. So that's kind of one of our new design we've done a couple of years back. And talk about serviceability, because for operators of the unit, for owners, as you can imagine, it's all about making sure that they can be well serviced when they're on the road. So Prevost also provides the most extensive service network of the industry. We have about over 15 service centers across North America, plus about 60 service vans to support customers. And we can even rely on our Volvo truck dealer network, which is part of our extended family, where we have over 190 across North America. So one of the great things is about service support. So wherever you are, we'll be able to support you if you have a problem with your unit.
Okay, so you've seen how Prevost delivers their bus to the upfitter. And in this particular case here, we're at Marathon. And Marathon buys from Prevost, and then they complete the coach inside. And that's really where it gets interesting. So come on in and have a look at these absolutely luxurious appointments. So when you look around inside this coach, there's two things you got to remember. Number one, when this is delivered to Marathon as a Prevost, it's already $1 million. And then everything else that goes into it is custom. And I do mean custom, right down to the choice of fabrics, wood, tile, lighting, electronics. All right, this is a completely immersive customer experience. The customer is involved in every step of this build, and it is built by hand. This is not an assembly line product. So have fun and take a look. Okay, folks, so that's our look at Prevost, but more importantly, at some of the coaches that the upfitters produce. And aren't they something spectacular? I'll never own one, but hey, that never stops me from wandering through and dreaming about it. So that's it, folks. Now, before you go, please go below, hit like, hit subscribe, and hey, join our channel, because we're going to be doing a lot of this stuff. And now I'm off to the rest of the show.